The Pelicans lose again, 4 on the trot. This time against the Los Angeles Lakers without LeBron on a Friday night NBA Cup game. Golly gosh, more of the same. Death by 1,000 third quarters. Let's unpack that today on Flock.
Ready?
So g'day everyone and welcome to Flock. I am your host, Lyle Swithenbank. This is of course a New Orleans Pelicans podcast. You can follow us at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter and on TikTok and at Lyle Pels on Instagram. And if you're just listening along on the audio version, well, you can find us on YouTube at Lyle Swithenbank as well. Or if you're watching us, vice versa, go and find us on your podcast app. And gosh, we just continue to grow. And isn't this fun? Maybe we're all just sitting there trying to find some solace that everyone around the world that supports this New Orleans Pelicans team can find some sort of bright spark amongst all of the disappointment. And perhaps we have with the emergence of the three rookies, I'm going to say, because I like Micah Peavy as well. Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, Micah Peavy. That's probably our upside. I've really enjoyed seeing these guys play, and we're going to talk about them a bit today. We're also going to unpack Gayle Benson's one-on-one interview with the Times-Picayune. Jeff Duncan was there, and we're going to unpack some of the comments that come out of that as well, because it's not probably the best look from an owner who was recently voted the most powerful women in sports, which is fantastic for the teams and for New Orleans sports fandom. I think that's great. Great to have the representation. The difficulty is that she sort of missed the mark on a few of these comments, and so we'll talk about that towards the end of today. But let's start with the game. Yeah, the game. The Pelicans lose. Now that's 4 on the trot, 104 to 118 to the Los Angeles Lakers team. No LeBron. He still hasn't made his season debut. It also makes us fall to 0-2 in the West Group B. And in terms of standings, this is for the NBA Cup. In our West Group B, we are with Lakers, Clippers, Memphis, Dallas, and us. And we're tied with Dallas for last, or for fourth, but on point differential, they're 2 points better. So, with Lakers sitting firmly ahead, 19 points clear in points differential. And it probably helped because of today. So, not ideal whatsoever. The NBA Cup is pretty much cactus already. And much like the rest of the season, as it seems to be going, we now fall all the way down to... Where are we on the ladder? We are dead last in the West. In terms of standings, we are... We have won 2 games and we have lost, pause for dramatic effect, we have lost 10. So 12 games in, 2-10. We've won 1 in our conference, lost 9. We've won 1 at home, we've won 1 on the road. We lost 4 at home, lost 6 at home, 2-8 in the last 10. And golly gosh, it is, the season is evaporating before our eyes. We've got no first round draft pick. Willie Green's still employed as the coach despite the same old rhetoric every single game. It's getting beyond a joke. And we'll talk about it a little bit more at the end, but Gayle Benson's comments about Willie Green, and she basically just put it on Joe Dumas. She said, I've got Joe here. That's why I brought him in. He can do what he needs, but he's also got a great relationship with Willie. He's known him since he was a kid, so I'll leave that all to Joe in terms of what he's going to do in terms of firing or keeping Willie Green. All I know is that at the moment we're tanking for someone else. We're tanking for Atlanta, so that's great. And all I see is clips of college players. I don't follow college players, but people keep sharing these really exciting young prospects onto the timeline. So I'm getting a full education of the guys that we will not get. Anyway, I digress. Back to this game, 118 to 104. First quarter, we got blown out the water by the Lakers. It was one that Looney was actually quite good in as a starter in this one. We started same starting five as we've done for the last couple of games. Murphy, Sadiq, Kevon Looney, Herb Jones, and Jeremiah Fears. And it was a little bit of back and forth, but the first two possessions of the game, we turned the ball over. And then from there, it was just like, lost your momentum from the beginning, and the Lakers just capitalized on that. I mean, Luka Doncic is one of the best players in the world. He was doing his things, but it wasn't like we were outmatched. We just could not get the ball to go in the hole and, lose that first quarter 35-25. And unfortunately, Trey hit a little, last second shot and it was still in his fingertips. Otherwise, it would have been a little bit closer. But you're down 10 to start the game. You're already fighting uphill. You then go into the second quarter, 30-27. So you fight back, but you still lose. That quarter, 65.5. It's too much. You cannot give up 65 points and a half and expect to win, particularly when you're only going to go and score 52 yourself. The defense was average at best. People battled. Peavy, I thought, was good defensively. These rookies getting these whistles, and we'll talk about the refs in a minute. It's so frustrating to watch because just ref it the same as everyone else. Austin Reeves, just looks at the basket and he's getting a foul, jumps sideways, jumps backwards. Everything that the NBA has told us they're not allowed to do, the Lakers are allowed to do. So I forgot that, they're above that. And again, to echo Joel and AD, how did they get a generational 26-year-old talent for one first-round draft pick and a broken-down Anthony Davis? I would hate to speculate because there's some weird stuff going on with that, and it was garbage, and Nico Harrison is now unemployed, which is well-deserved. At least they were decisive on that. Not. Quarter three, we came out, started really slow, got down, 20, and then fought right back. Again, whatever's happening in the locker room, this is death by 1,000 third quarters. We are losing games in the third quarter every single time because anytime you get momentum, we stop doing whatever was working. Without fail. Or we come out so slow out of the locker room that you then have to dig yourself back out of the hole. It's just infuriating to watch. Stop coming out slow. Whatever you're doing currently, whatever you've done for the last 2 years in the locker room at halftime, don't do that anymore. Do the exact opposite. Because it is not working. And it hasn't worked. And it continues not to work. If everyone's got to jog on the spot at halftime for 20 minutes, then that's what you got to do. Stay warm, because it is an absolute pain. I'm sure it's a pain for the players coming out and just getting, slapped as soon as you walk out of the halftime race. But we get there. I don't know. Quarter four, we actually won 23-27. And to be fair, we've been pretty good in last quarters. We finished quite fast. The difficulty is that by then, teams don't have to go and score a whole heap because they've built a buffer. You're the one chasing the tail. You just have to maintain in the last quarter. You give up an extra 4 points, well, you're up by 10, so, what did we lose by? 14. There you go. The maths isn't mathing. You have to be able to compete for 4 quarters. You just cannot afford to give up these, 15-0 runs, 18-0 runs, 22 runs to 0-1s, runs. It's disheartening. And you're watching, from afar. You're seeing people not come out to the games. People that were there, I'm sure, were having a great time. I went when they'd won 5 games last year. Had a great time at the Smoothie King Centre. It was busier than what it looks like on TV. That's a Friday night NBA Cup against the Lakers, and it was definitely almost more Lakers fans there, and it was still only like a quarter full. It looked really average. And maybe people are just fed up. Maybe they are. Does it get harder to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch a team that we know is not going to put in half of as much effort as it does for us to watch? Maybe not. Maybe I decide to roll over and go back to sleep. I don't know. Maybe we're getting to that point, which is disappointing because, we go back a month. Yeah, just over a month and a half. They're in Melbourne. Vibes are at an all-time high. There was so much excitement. Yes, injuries come into play, but injuries, we know the Batman quote, you've got Bane who says, the darkness, you merely adopted it. I was born in it, molded by it. The injury, this is being a New Orleans sports fan, is knowing that injuries are coming. It's just the reality of things. And as disappointing as it is, that is how this has played out the last 5 years. To continue on, stats, they scored 52% to our 43%. Again, you can't let people score more than they miss. You just can't. Thankfully, they were bad from 3, so it meant that you could stay in touch for a lot of it. They only shot 29%, still hit 10 threes, and we hit 12, so 35%, which again, you're not punishing them when you do get them. Free throws, 76%. They had 26 to our 18, and we shot 77%, so it wasn't good from either team. Assists, 28 to 24. Rebounds, 45 to 42. They beat us there, and it was DeAndre Ayton who did a lot of the damage on the boards with other guys like Rui Hachimura and Luka and guys like that all going and grabbing those rebounds. Offensive rebounds we won again, 12 to 10, and I like that. I like attacking the glass. Get more possessions. If you miss, go back up and put them in. The difficulty is if you're getting more offensive rebounds, it means that you're missing shots. So, it's a double-edged sword, really. Points off turnovers, 23 to 21 in favour of the Lakers. And that was with us turning the ball over 20 times to their 17. 20 turnovers. It's just unacceptable. It's just disappointing. Because I think they battled in this. I don't think this was like a let go of the rope game, but it's just tiresome. Were we expected to win? Absolutely not. But when you do it in the same fashion every time, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and hoping for a different result. It's not going to happen. Something needs to change. Now we'll go to the box score. Trey Murphy has hit his all-star straps. He has been nothing short of phenomenal from the scoring. 35 points, 7 rebounds, a steal, 13 of 21, 3 of 7 from 3. Hit all his free throws, 6 of them, 6 turnovers, minus 25 on the night. From a scoring perspective, he's been everything that we've needed. He's been great. The turnovers are really, really tough, and it's difficult when you become the primary ball handler, that expectation that you're now going to create for others, being that number one option, while also having the number one option moniker, and that people are going to then defend you like you're the number one option. So he's copping double teams. They're running him off the line. They're hammering him every time he goes near the near the ball. They're full ball denying. And when the refs, who were absolutely garbage in this, garbage, and decided to get bees in their bonnet about umpiring rookies. I've never seen anything like that. It was the most ridiculous, one-sided garbage umpiring I've ever seen. Well, maybe not ever, but it was right up there in recent memory. All three of those umpires should be sent somewhere else to go and practice because that was garbage. I don't know anything about that, but gosh, I could have done that better from Perth. Sadiq, he was good. I thought he was very good. He had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1 steal. 3 of 13 shooting, which is brutal. Gosh, that's really bad. And they were the 3 threes which were late in the game, which we needed because they were all down the stretch. Now, what I liked about Sadiq, besides butchering my fantasy team's field goal percentage, is that he had the 7 assists and 7 rebounds. So having that impact when you aren't actually being very efficient is good. And staying aggressive, right? We needed his aggression, and he did that. I did not realise he shot as bad as he did. But, alas, pretty full stat line otherwise. Looney, 10 minutes, or nearly 11. He had 2 points and 2 assists, no rebounds. Which is a bit rare for Loon. Yeah, I think he's kind of in a holding pattern until they finally cave and put Derek Queen as a starting centre, but I don't know what they're going to do there. That's, you sign the guy, I suppose you have to play him. Herb Jones, 34 minutes. He had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal and a block, 4 of 14 shooting, 1 of 8 from 3, 4 of 6, and 2 turnovers, minus 15. He was guarding Luka. Was not an efficient night for him either. They were daring him to shoot. He didn't really punish them quite as much as he could. He was a bit sloppy with the ball, and, it was a tough night for Herb. Full stat line, again, similar to Sadiq. You're so tired defending these bloody all-world talent that you know that anything you do, you're going to get fouled on. It means that the efficiency really suffered there. And Jeremiah Fears, who now holds the rookie record for the Pelicans in steals. He had 8 steals and tied second in the franchise records for most steals in the game. One behind Chris Paul, who had 9. 28 minutes, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 steals, as I said. 7 steals. He had 8. NBA app was cooked. 8 of 16 and 3 turnovers, minus 24. Look, I thought he was great. He was aggressive. He attacked. He defended. They were throwing everything at him. They were trying to disrupt him. He got no calls whatsoever. There was a play, I think it was in the last quarter, where he spun and jumped, and he was grabbed out of the air and the ball went in, and there was no call. And the umpires from, me to the wall away. Insanity. But anyway, it's the rookie learning curve. No, that's just not... I don't believe any of that. I don't understand it at all. It just is bizarre. Derek Queen, another tough night from the field, 4 of 10, but ended up with 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He's going to get triple-double soon. He only played 29 minutes in this one, missed his 3, had 5 turnovers, still a minus 2. So you have 5 turnovers, and you were still... from the guys that played significant minutes, one of the best players. It says a lot, right? Your impact is beyond the pure stats. I thought he was good. Again, the umpiring was garbage. It completely disrupted him. He got into the umpires at times and just was trying to query how he could get a free throw. Unfortunately, the umpires were just completely ill-equipped at doing their job. And, he didn't get them. Jose was fine in 21 minutes, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Only 1 turnover. He was a +7, which was 3rd best in the team. He was all right. Carlo, 4 points and 3 rebounds in 12 minutes. Peavy only played 7 minutes. He got a lot of fouls, but he had a bagel. He was running cardio in this one. Missed his 2 shots. -4. But he just went out there and defended. And 2 of his shots were, in and outs. They were all very close. Hopefully that shot starts falling because that's how he gets more minutes, right? We know you can defend. You also now need to punish him on the other end. Otherwise, it's untenable to have a complete non-scorer on the court. Hawkins, 9 minutes. He had 3 points and 3 rebounds and an assist. He was a +11. Him and Carlo were the tied best plus-minus on the team. And Eve Messi played 10 minutes. No points, a rebound and an assist, and that was it. -8. So, what we saw from this team was another inconsistent performance. It doesn't take much to know that this is a young team. You're playing 3 rookies heavy minutes. You're playing Jordan Hawkins a few minutes. You're playing Carlos, basically second-year player. Messi's second-year player. The team's young. That is not lost on me. But there are also players who have been there that were actually the inconsistent ones. Sadiq Bey, not scoring very well, or inefficiently. Herb Jones, same thing. You're going to have nights like that. Trey Murphy stepped up, did that. But then you go and have a number of turnovers. It's a really difficult balance to strike. And when you're playing a good team, look, Luka Doncic, again, is a great player. And he can have, 4 people out the crowd, and he's still going to be really competitive because it's just how good he is. He ends up with 24, 7 and 12, 6 of 16. Even he was inefficient. Got a heap of free throws, like a million. 13. Reeves got 13 as well. No one else on their team got any. Which is, firstly, wild. But that's the reality of things, is that the way they are umpired is different to everyone else. And additionally, they're great players. And they're very clever and they're very crafty. It's very difficult to compete when you're beating yourselves. 20 turnovers. Keep that number in mind. 20 turnovers. They didn't punish you half as much as they could have. But the thing was, is it kills any goodwill and momentum and consistent offense when you turn the ball over at such a clip. Let's just have a look at how many shots that we had tonight. We had 89 field goal attempts. But you turn the ball over 20 times. So you could have had, 100. 110. It's very hard pressed to beat a team. That's if you turn it over never. Let's say they turn it over half that amount. You get an extra 10 shots. That puts you at 99 shots to 84. Just based on basic numbers, that's all. You could have given yourself an extra 20 attempts on them. It's ludicrous. And it starts with putting players in a position to be successful, and it starts with the coach. Joe Dumas hasn't spoken for ages. We need a voice of reason, a voice to steady the ship of a season that is already, rudderless. Yes, there was the report Zion is resuming on-court work. That's great with contact. That's fantastic. So he should. It's a hamstring. Is he coming back next week? Probably towards the end. I've never seen anyone come back earlier than, 3 weeks from a hamstring. You should give it whatever your required weeks are and then one more. It's the rule of thumb. Otherwise you end up like Jalen Green. You're out for another 6 weeks. To add insult to injury, and this is, we're going to talk about Jeff Duncan's sit-down interview with Gayle Benson, the owner of the Saints and the Pelicans. He spoke to her fairly candidly, it looks like. And look, she spoke openly, I guess. Reassured that the teams won't be sold. Reassured that, her investment in the team is pure, and for her, it's getting the lease with the Superdome finished, and now the Smoothie King Centre. That's next. Champion Square, of course, as well. It's all part of that. Talking about her relationship with the governor to make sure that they can get this deal done. That's all well and good. That's what an owner should be doing, and saying, if you have a team that's there, no, you don't want them becoming, speculated for relocation. While you're still the owner, you need to keep reassuring people, no, the team will be here. The quote that I think was disappointing, and again, it's written on the paper. I haven't seen it verbally. I don't know any of the context behind it, body language, things like that. It's words on a page. And she talked about basically bearing the brunt of the losing for both teams. And to a degree she does, right? Financially, emotionally, she wants the teams to win. You always want your teams to be successful. However, the difficulty with this was that she sort of cried poor, for want of a better term. Oh, I don't know what else I can do. I'm giving them everything I can. There's not much else I can do besides, the players have to go out and do their job, and the guys in the front office have to do theirs. And I'm in the locker rooms after every game, so I can give them a hug and give them a pep talk and win or lose. And we've got some good young players and things like that. I get that. That's fantastic. But there are other things you can do. You're in a global financial crisis and the prices go up. Season tickets go up by 50%, for some levels. You're losing the casual fan because you're making it a barrier. The cost is a barrier to entry. You've got season ticket holders who won't go because the performance on the court is so bad. Because the feeling of the team giving back, in quotation marks, to the fans is waning. It feels like anywhere that a little bit extra could be given. It took until Retro Pels tweets out that we didn't get a fan night calendar that it miraculously comes out the next day. It's things like that have become part and parcel of the NBA experience across the entire league. The attention to detail, the fan engagement, I think, has dropped down, right? And I've been a huge beneficiary of it throughout. Absolutely, I will not fault how I've been treated by the Pelicans. I personally have benefited immensely, and I'm eternally grateful for that. But I see what's on Twitter. I see how people are reacting. Myself, I'm sitting there going, this is pretty dire. You're watching on TV, seeing the court or the stands empty. That's not what you want to see. That's not what the team wants to see. They're still coming out there and doing their job. The difficulty is you have to give us something, whether that's on-court performance, whether that is a clear direction, whether that is fan engagement, whether it is lower ticket prices, whatever it is. As the owner, you control that. You control the direction. You can't just go and say, I put Joe Dumars in charge of that. That's his ship to run. You do have some say. I can guarantee that if, Zion was to be traded, you would know about it before it happened. It's just a reality of things. So there were just a couple of comments in there. Again, appreciate Jeff Duncan and Times Picayune putting this together. Rod Walker's done a Pelican specific article as well. Appreciate both those guys for going asking those questions and then writing about it. It's important that we get this access and that the owners of the teams speaks out. And it's a bit disappointing, you haven't got Joe Dumars saying anything to echo it, and perhaps he will. Maybe that's another follow-up article, I don't know. But I don't think Gayle should downplay how much it impacts the fans, the staff, the players, the coaches, the entire organisation from top to bottom when there is uncertainty, when there is a lack of clear direction. And I think that needs to be cleared up. And I also don't want to hear the billionaire owner saying she's done all she can and her hands are tied. That stings a little bit. It stings a little bit. But again, it's just words on a page. And we persevere. You know, we take on the Warriors on Sunday night. They get a day off and then they're playing again. And the Warriors get to come to the Smoothie King Centre. I hope everyone plays. I hope everyone gets to see Steph Curry. And, I hope the guys battle out and give them a good show. I know the players always tend to get up when it's a better team. But it would be nice to win one. I think we're due now. If I wake up tomorrow and there's no change again, you've got a perfect change time to appoint James Borrego as interim head coach. Well, maybe it's just the mediocrity that we've come to expect from this team, which is really disappointing because, like I said a month and a half ago, I was having the time of my life in Melbourne, and I was really, really, really excited. And now you can hear it in my voice. I'm tired. I'm tired, Pierre. I'm tired, Pierre the Pelican. Anyway, let's leave it at that. We'll be back after the Warriors game, breaking that down, discussing whatever or whatever hasn't happened in the world of the Pelicans then. So, enjoy your weekend, and I'll speak to you then. This has been Flock. I am your host, Lyle Swithenbank, at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter, on TikTok as well, and at Lyle Bells on Instagram, at Lyle Swithenbank on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. What more do you want to see from the Pelicans? I want to hear from you guys about that. And stay safe, and of course, bye for now.